Hey, and according to that, I am live, and this is interesting. I am 2 hours earlier than usual tonight, which may explain why there are no viewers, which is a bit sad, but what can you do? I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and so that means that I'm stuck with this as is. This is Tokyo Tonight. I'm on every Sunday, usually 11 p.m. Early one tonight. I'm sorry about that, but the video will be live by then. I'm just going to keep it to some news topics and some announcements, and I'm going to wrap it up quickly tonight. But yes, very good to see you all anyway, and I'm going to try to keep this, as I said, topic focused. So let's kick it with the intro and get into it. Yeah, I've got to keep the volume down on the intro actually, the levels are too high, but yes, this is the new look Hikosaemon. This is my new stuff. I hope that my sound is in sync, as it indeed should be. I am going to make sure that I am not wasting bandwidth. Boom. In fact, given that there are no people watching at the moment, I'm going to shut this window down and just go into video topics. So, hope you're well. I am going to go to my, as you all know from my Flipboard, I like to save articles that I read, I tweet a lot, I do all that sort of good stuff, and I save sort of topics which I think are going to be good for talking about in the video this week. And I found a couple of good ones, which I'd like to share with you, which come from some of my favorite places on the internet. So let's get into that. Boom. So, the first one is from the boss of Skier, which is kind of like a Japanese fast food chain. It's a bit like Yoshinoya, kind of cheap, easy to eat kind of meat on rice and stuff like that. And he's basically talking about that, in fact, let me just check, I'm on center, I am on center, yes. That Japanese people, he's saying, they don't want to do 3K work anymore. Kitsui, kitanai, kiken, which is basically tough, dirty, or dangerous work. And he kind of made some comments, Japanese are going soft, they don't want to do real work anymore. And, and yeah, there was some, he kind of made these comments, and there's a big problem at the moment with the lack of young people and lack of young workers. Companies like, which have a bad reputation, like Watami, only got half the number of applicants that they were expecting this year, in places like these guys with low salaries that no one's joining them. Construction's an area that's struggling at the moment. Things like that, they just can't get workers, that's why they're trying to get foreigners and so on. And this is something with the aging population, the declining young population and so on, is really, it's already starting to kind of hit. Nietzsche, not a high level of response, but it's funny seeing the comments, and I always enjoy these. So the first comment in response to this article by the Skier boss, that Japanese are too soft for real work anymore, this guy says Skier must be 4K because the kyuryo ga yasui, the salary is too low. Which is fair enough. Next guy says that they get held up all the time. That's too dangerous, and all this sort of stuff, dirty food or whatever. People basically mocking him. But yes, it's where things are going. People aren't, and it's kind of funny, people aren't taking it anymore the way that they used to, which is probably is a good thing in some ways. The next article, which, that's going to be, next article I just want to highlight, I noticed yesterday, Shogun I posted it on Twitter, I thought it was interesting. A hedge fund manager, not that that really necessarily qualifies you to much, but this guy, apparently a big hedge fund manager, who's also been very negative on China, so he's not just bashing on Japan. But he came out with something I thought was very interesting because I disagreed with it. He says that Abe is the most dangerous figure in Asia. I'm of the view that although, there's a lot of noise around Abe and so on, and, him being a nationalist and whatever, he is reasonably controlled, and I don't think the things that he's doing, including visiting Yasukuni or reinterpreting the constitution, in and of themselves are necessarily provocations. Nothing like, for example, what China's doing in the South China Sea of Vietnam and putting oil rigs in disputed territory, which they're going to go and do at some point in Okinawa as well, and they're still running ships through there every day. I mean, he's not like Japan's violating territory or, is attacking anyone. But he maintains that he thinks that Japan is actually more dangerous under Abe than all the other parts in the region, and the danger that he causes is going to cause Japan's economy loss for a long time to come. You know, and it's kind of funny. Well, and you'd say, you know, he's calling Abe an ultra-nationalist, and he'll begin to destabilize the area from a political and military point of view more than any Chinese leader. I think he's smoking something if he thinks that, but you know, I think that there's a lot of noise around Abe, and there's been a lot of propaganda in Western media. But there again, I'd accuse him of swallowing up Chinese propaganda, but he's also been pointing out for a long time, he's not pro-China, he's been pointing out the massive real estate bubble that's going on in China. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting to see a guy who's been, yeah, apparently he's fairly well respected for having a good track record of picking the Enron was going to fail before anyone thought it was going to fail, and all these other things. He's kind of seems to be a successful pessimist. I disagree with him, but it's interesting to hear a view like that. It's not one that you and I guess it got some attention. This being from the Wall Street Journal Asia. Next bit of news, which was not that last video, but I thought was interesting, was this one. So there's been a manga, which has been a serial manga. I'm not sure if it's been weekly. Yeah, so there's basically a publisher, and the publisher in this is who is Shogakukan. So they've had a weekly manga called Big Comic Spirits, and in that they featured this this weekly manga called Oishimbo, which is, from what I understand, about a traveling person who goes eating, you know, in different locations and so on. And apparently the last episode of this drew a lot of attention and criticism, because they were visiting Fukushima, and at the very end of it, just as they were leaving Fukushima, they got a nosebleed, having visited an area near where the nuclear power plant, you know, Fukushima Daiichi is, and basically implying that if you eat Fukushima food, you're going to get a nosebleed. And of course, you know, politicians and, you know, there's a lot of public outrage and so on, that this is people beating up with, again, all this kind of false propaganda about Fukushima and trying to destroy their reputation. And this whole idea of fuhyo higai, this whole idea of, you know, destroying this damage caused by reputational damage to farmers and so on, who unquestionably are victims of this whole thing of Fukushima. However, so there's a bit of a debate, however, around this. I mean, we all know that there are blogs and whatever, you know, all over America, and even in Japan, that say, yeah, if you go to Fukushima, you're going to get, what do they call them, the glands, those things, thyroid gland cancer, you're going to get, you know, bloody noses and so on, all this kind of crap and so on. And, you know, there's a lot of blogs which basically put out misinformation on this issue. But there again, this is a fictional manga. It's not professing to be real, but of course it's playing on all those fears, and it's putting them into, you know, a fictional manga about traveling through this place. The end result of it was that after all the outrage, the publisher announced that they were suspending publication of the manga, and they would not really release the final episode of the manga, which was due to come out this week. And that's interesting. So was this a form of kind of political censorship of free speech in order to cover up the idea of radiation contamination in Fukushima, which it could be definitely seen to be? You know, is this governed by freedom of speech, or is this someone genuinely who's kind of crossed the line into real antisocial, really victimizing people, again, with kind of unfair, negative things, which really the country's been trying very hard to support the people of Fukushima against, you know, through demonstrating the safety of food. And it was in fact in reaction to this, Abe himself went to Fukushima this week and was eating cherries or something. He wasn't feeding them to his kids or anything. And honestly speaking, I mean, I don't mind eating Fukushima food myself, but there again, I'm fairly old and my cells are not multiplying anymore. So that is, for me, you know, there's not so much damage that you can do, but for young kids and so on, I don't know, I'm careful. I don't want to pick Fukushima food for my son, honestly. Maybe it's groundless, but you don't want to take any chances there. I'll happily, and when you eat out in Tokyo, you don't know where the food is from, and I'm always going to, you know, that doesn't bother me personally. But yeah, it's a tough issue, but that was one which really was brought to a peak by this. another article I just picked up, which was similar to the first one that I picked up, about the this is another channel aggregation, but basically Watami has been doing so badly. They went from $10 million profit last year to $50 million rating this year, or something like that. Anyway, I think that was the ratio, because of their reputation of working these Watami being a chain of izakaya restaurant bars that actually worked its employees to death, and the owner of the company was remorseless about it and said that no, it's great how people do so much overtime, and she was just too weak or something like that. Said some horrible things, which basically had the whole internet kind of bashing up against them, and it's really damaged their business to the point that they've gone and renamed a lot of their restaurants, and they're now using two names to try to avoid the association with because the name has such a reputation of being a black company that abuses the rights of its workers. So now instead of Watami, they're called Wamin or Gohan. I actually saw one of these myself in Akasaka Mitsuki yesterday. But so now you know. Now everyone kind of knows. Everyone's kind of saying, oh, you're trying to get away with deceiving people by changing your name, eh? And again, it's kind of, you know, this is kind of a whole festival of just beating up on these kinds of things. So that is what... yeah, it's kind of good to see. It's one positive thing about the internet, perhaps. I mean, it's a real lynch mob of sorts, but you know, as a force for good and bad. There's an article on Rocket News which is fun to read. Here talking about aizuchi, the kind of interjections the Japanese put all over there. And basically, honestly, I would say if you're trying to learn good Japanese, effective Japanese quickly, I would say focus on these for conversational Japanese. Ken Tanaka's done videos about this. I definitely recommend it. And you know, so, oh really, naruhodo, oh right, really, hey, really, maji, really, sounanda, right, right, they, and I use these things in English more now because I've been in Japan. Oh, and look at that, they've referenced a vid from Michaela talking about that as well, so that's all a good thing. They kind of summarize them up pretty well here, and yes, very good to go and read all this stuff. You can get all the links for these from my Flipboard magazine link, for my video links, or my other links anyway. There's that again. By the way, that is the thumbnail competition, so remember to come, and if you've got a thumbnail for us that we can use, please come and use those. Please send those to us, and we'll put them in and possibly use them on every 2.5 Oyajis video from now on. A couple of shout outs. One is for Dan Powell, this guy down here, Shoot Tokyo. He started a Kickstarter basically to publish a book. I really like Kickstarter. I've seen a couple of good ones. One for Mountain, which is BLK, UNK, and Zeppelin, Tokyo Zeppelin's movie project. One is now this guy this is basically the best street. I mean, it's a very crowded genre. It's true, there are lots of street photographers in Tokyo. But this is a guy I probably consider the best. If you have a look at his work, just go to shoottokyo.com, you'll see what I mean. It's really standout, great stuff. And he's prepared to publish a book, and I think that's a great thing. So yeah, and what I really like is, you know, in the old days you used to just put up a PayPal and eBay, right? You just say, pay me money, please, I'm gonna cry. And it was always kind of awkward, and you know, people saw the potential of the internet for this sort of thing, but they didn't really know how to use it in a way that didn't feel a bit creepy or dirty. And Kickstarter, I must admit, I thought it was just kind of another form of eBaying when I first heard about it, but truth is I really like how these things are set up, and there are 3 projects that really stand out to me. One is a project for Koi to develop a video game, a Japanese type not just video game, PC game or whatever, by Dan Tsukasa, and I saw that and I thought it was super interesting. Like, you know, the more you donate, them at some levels they'll even include you or something about you in the game, and you know, they'll give you a free copy of the game, and so like, it's more like you're not just donating, but you're pre-ordering and contributing. I thought that's really brilliant. It makes you an owner, kind of a stakeholder in the success of it, and it doesn't just encourage fundraising, but it encourages support and, you know, spread of word of mouth and all that sort of thing. I thought that was great, and to tell the truth, I didn't take any action about it, and I still really want to support it and actually feature Dan and his video game on this channel at some point. But yeah, well, I was kind of thinking about that, and I kind of regretted not donating to that, and it's still something I kind of, before it closed, because I thought it was really worthwhile too, and that was something I was ready for. Then the Tokyo Zeppelin BLK UNK movie project came out, which I did support, and I think that was excellent, and again, I really like what they did with that. And now another worthy project. Now this guy's already surpassed his goal, but the fact is you can get like a shirt, you get a free copy, you know, not a free copy, you pay through your donation and you kind of pre-order the book. and it looks really, really cool. And so I am up with that. And this guy is great. And this is another guy I'd like to get onto 2.5 Oyajis because he's a really interesting guy. I really enjoyed watching the video on the Kickstarter video for it, which shows how he kind of introduces you to him. I'm used to seeing his work more than him, and you know how he does street photography. It's nice to see he's very polite and respectful of the people. He doesn't just go around shooting photos of people. So he comes off as a really good guy, and he takes great photos. So this is a project I'm planning to support, and I'd recommend. And you don't have to go and support the Kickstarter even. I mean, just go and check out Shoot Tokyo. It's awesome, and he really is, I think, the leading light of the street photography, especially the foreign street photographers in Tokyo. So yes, we had the thumbnail project, we had the Shoot Tokyo Kickstarter, we have the Hikosaemon happy video, which I showed off last week, and it sounds like there's been a lot more response to that this week. Guys like Tofuku, Ken Tanaka, Kat McDowell, lots of people are contributing, and so including me, and so we can all dance together to Happy. It's going to be wrapped up soon. Good on Hikosaemon for running that. Good on you, man. And I can't wait to see it now. You do that stuff right. Use the original proper track and beat match it properly. Don't be lazy with the beat matching. And that's going to be really awesome when that comes out. The other awesome thing, in fact, kind of mind-blowing thing is this. It's featured on Rocket News, and I featured it in a video of my own the other day. It's this thing. It's the Ken Tanaka, latest Ken Tanaka video featuring the lovely, I'm pointing to it on the screen but you can't see it, the lovely Kat McDowell and one or two others, basically doing a video on the situation that a waitress hears you speaking Japanese but thinks you're a foreigner and either doesn't realize you're speaking Japanese or worries that you won't understand her Japanese, so she speaks to the nearest Asian looking person, and it's a situation I've actually run into, as I mentioned in my promo vid for this. The video is amazing, apart from being great, and I loved it, and it's a situation I've actually been in myself multiple times. Ken Tanaka released it, and within, what, 4 days, it already had nearly 250,000 views, fully viral. So fun, awesome, great job, lots of people I know and really loving it. It's a great video. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. I'll tweet the links for it, and again I'll put links for all this sort of stuff below the video, but I thought that was awesome, so good on you, Ken Tanaka. And yeah, interesting thing here about countries that sent, where do you think the most tourists to Japan came from? There's been all this kind of stress with South Korea and China, but still nonetheless, well, Taiwan number 2, and that's very interesting because Japan does get on very well with Taiwan. But South Korea, for all the drama, 2.5 million visitors to Japan of the 10 million came from South Korea. So South Korea, and you think about it, South Korea's a population of what, 40 million, 30 million? So, you know, for all the drama, South Koreans, and this is what I believe sincerely, is that person to person, you know, I think the stuff between Japan and Korea isn't as bad as it's made out. Taiwan is great, Japan of course gets on great with Taiwan. Even PRC, lots of visitors, and the greatest increase has been Thailand, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan. There's been a real focus on trying to improve and increase tourism from Southeast Asia, from Japan. And that's all very good to see, so it's good to see more interaction, to see more people coming to Japan, particularly the Olympics coming up, and that is it. That is all my topics and so on. I have to keep it, I'm going to sleep early, 5 AM, so this is an early pre-recording. I'm sorry to disappoint the people who came in expecting to watch this live, and ended up with just me. I'm going to put this back to the original setting. In fact, let's make it red because I like red. Boom. So yes, usually next week I'll be back at 11 PM at the usual time. It'll be more interactive. It'll be an hour long. However, until then, let me just see if there's any comments that have come up in the meantime. Oh, and they are. So when I started, there were no comments. But you know what? I've kept it tight and I've kept it newsy tonight. And it's actually fun doing that as well. It's fun doing the comments, but I'm glad I got to do it this way. Let's do some comments, and then I'm going to take it out. So, bada boom. Some quick shout-outs, quick comments, and I'm going to say goodnight to you all. So, yes, Makafu, yes, I was early, so it appeared to have no comments, but now it does have comments, thanks to you, so thank you for that. Hey, Michael Peckett, good to see you as always. Kitsune Kage, would like to stay, but you're barbecuing, so enjoy your barbecue and come back and watch this later. That's what I made it for. Charlie Brown, good to see you. Sorry you've been sick for 2 weeks. Get well soon, man. Gundi, they need to take more foreigners for workers. Indeed they do. Renton, good to see you. Joseph Mulan, good to see you. And don't apologize for being late. I haven't seen that Chris Gann is making videos, but I ran into him. I actually do kickboxing at his gym. I should get in touch with him and get him on, because he's an interesting character. God, my Chris, good to see you. Sean Goldbraith, yes, yes. Hokiboshi, hi Joseph. The video I showed the other day was, yeah, so he actually ran into the same thing, the thing with the Kintanaka thing, which is cool. Nosebleed after the nuclear, that was the issue with the manga. Indeed, Skip 1713. The indeed Southie, the whole Vietnam China kerfuffle is getting very big news in Japan. Hey Ahmed, good to see you as always, and all that stuff. And yeah, Charlie Brown. Well, you can. I think Tokyo is pretty friendly for taking photos the right or the wrong way, but indeed it can, you know, as anywhere, it can get into trouble. I think particularly in Harajuku, they're a bit sensitive about that stuff. Anyway, that's me. I am having an early night tonight. 5 a.m. start. I don't know how I'm going to do that. It's been incredible. I had a really busy and stressful week with work last week, but it's all good, and it's getting better. And but I've got to keep doing that tomorrow. So I hope that you're all well. I'm going to see you on Wednesday, and Wednesday on 2.5 Oyajis next weekend. Again at 11 o'clock the regular time next time on Tokyo Tonight, and that is it. Newsy short Tokyo Tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Boom. Peace. Which I said, but I wasn't ready to stop it. Now here we go.